always allow your kids excessive screen time? Perhaps you feel you want to keep them busy so you can have time to do some other things as a parent. You see, you might be bringing them more harm than good. Here's what you need to know about the impact of screen time on the brain of the child. Hi, it's Coach Rebecca, Kids Mindset Coach, Specialist Therapist. I help kids overcome learning difficulties, thrive, and 10x their results. Today we are looking at the impact of screen time on the brain of the child. Number one, excessive screen time does something to the child. It promotes impulsive behavior in the child. Whenever children are exposed to excessive screen time, what happens? You see, the part of the brain responsible for helping them control and manage behavior and make decisions, the prefrontal cortex, is still developing. It's still developing. This keeps developing until they are age 25. That's when it's now really developed. So they're still young. And then we go again and expose them to screen time. So what does this do to them? It thins out the cortex. It thins it out. Research shows and a lot of scans that have been made to prove this and bring out evidence that this is really bringing harm than good to children. Shows that the cortex was thinned out for children exposed to excessive screen time for over 5 hours, 7 hours a day. I mean, it has a lot of negative impact, not just on the brain of the child, but on the entire well-being of the child. How the child develops, the health of the child, and so much more. It affects a lot of things about the child. So there's a negative impact which we really need to curb. We need to work on it to create a balance. The prefrontal cortex of the brain is still developing, and then you go ahead and expose the child again to screen time. What happens? The child starts acting impulsively. You see kids acting rashly. You see kids making poorer decisions. There is no control. They don't have any impulse control. They can't control themselves. That's how it starts, because we've exposed them excessively to screen. So that's one of the harmful effects. Number two, there is poor executive function. You see, this executive function are the mental processes that help us plan, help us focus, remember things, carry out different tasks, prioritize, and self-regulate, adapt, and the working memory. But you see, by the time you expose your kids to excessive screen time, what happens? It affects the executive function. You see kids these days no longer know how to prioritize. They no longer know how to regulate their emotions. They cannot adapt, and they cannot plan and focus. It all boils down to exposure to excessive screen time. So we really need to look at this and then